I know we had given you information about today's presentation in advance so that we could jump right in and listen to your presentation. And then if we have time left over, we'll ask questions.
Sure. Okay. Well, good afternoon. I'm Jessica Fain, Chief Strategy Officer for the YMCA of Middle Tennessee. On behalf of our charitable nonprofit organization, I want to thank you for considering our appropriations request on behalf of the Northwest Y. The YMCA Middle Tennessee has been serving Nashville and the surrounding area since 1875. Inspired by our Christian mission, YMCAs across the country are united by a common cause to strengthen communities. We do that in three ways: by focusing on healthy living, youth development, and social responsibility. Each year, the Y in Middle Tennessee reaches more than 200,000 individuals, nearly a third of them children, by encouraging health and well-being, nurturing the potential of youth and teens, and providing opportunities to support neighbors in need by investing more than $8 million a year in financial assistance and charitable subsidies to deliver free outreach programs. We finance that mission in three ways: through revenue earned from membership and program fees, charitable contributions, and private and public grants. Today, our YMCA Association includes 15 family wellness centers, one of the region's largest day and overnight camps, and a range of community-based programs, such that our reach extends beyond the bricks and mortar of our facilities. Through programs that meet a range of needs in our diverse community, the Y administers to people seeking healthier lives: survivors of breast cancer, people suffering from addictions or other life challenges, children reading below grade level, children experiencing food insecurity, youth of color preparing for college or career entry, and more. Each day we provide quality before and after school care in 68 schools in Davidson County for more than 3,000 students. In many of these schools, we also serve full meals as one of the state's largest providers of the federal child and adult care food program, serving approximately 260,000 snacks and 142,000 meals each year. And although the federal reimbursement dollars earned for the meals do not cover the full cost of administering the program, we believe the additional investments our organization and its donors make to ensure we can deliver it are well worth it. Because we understand that a hungry child cannot learn, and we believe every child deserves the chance to discover who they are and what they can become. Today in the Metro Nashville public school system, those 3,000 children will go home with full bellies because our Y says yes to CACFP, because we believe that meeting basic and critical needs is at least one way we can level the educational playing field in our community. So who we are is much more than bricks and mortar, and the Y does not exist only within its walls, but there's no denying how much those walls mean to the members of the Northwest YMCA. Consistent with our commitments to youth development and healthy living, the impact of the $243,940 in appropriations funding in the communities the Northwest Family YMCA serves will be realized in 6 primary areas: healthy living and membership, active older adults, after-school programs, summer day camp, Y literacy, and swim lessons. In the area of healthy living and membership, impact would be most keenly felt by the 3,812 individuals who belong to the Northwest YMCA, where the Y of Middle Tennessee has maintained a presence since the pool was built in 1969 and later the building in 1971. Appropriations funding for this facility will most assuredly help to ensure it remains a sustainable community resource for the thousands of residents who turn to it for their health and wellness needs, for their social interaction, and for a place to spend their out-of-school time. Of the more than 3,800 members of this facility, 83% are African American, and nearly 50% are able to have access to the Y thanks to our Open Doors program, which offers an income-based rate scale to ensure that when Davidson County neighbors come to the Y, they don't have to choose between paying their bills and taking care of their health. Of these members, more than 1,500 families with 830 children currently pay a reduced rate based on their household income. While nearly half the population served by this family wellness facility is unable to afford the full cost of a membership, another quarter of them rely on Silver Sneakers, a Medicare supplemental insurance benefit that offers low rates of reimbursement to wellness facilities to provide memberships to seniors. Both of these payment circumstances significantly contribute to the center's fiscal health. Next to children, who make up 22% of the population served by the Northwest Y, senior citizens represent the next largest group who would benefit from appropriations, at 19% of the population. Funding would be directed to expenses the facility incurs to provide services tailored to active older adults, including 60 group exercise classes each month and 8 to 10 monthly social events. Although this is a smaller group of beneficiaries with a total of 739 individuals, they represent possibly the highest need population served by the center, with 80% of senior members depending on a membership subsidy to ensure their access. And in a community already plagued by health disparities, access for preventative health programming and activities to guard against social isolation are critical to the health of the aging population. And while the Northwest Y implicitly serves individuals of all ages with healthy living opportunities through the facility, it's also been intentional in providing structured youth development programs at no cost to community members to increase early grade reading proficiency, create safe spaces during out-of-school time, and reduce the risk of drowning for at-risk youth in North Nashville. These investments represent the remaining 4 areas of anticipated impact: after-school programs, summer day camp, Y literacy, and swim lessons. Youth development programs at the Northwest Y serve predominantly African American youth ages 3 through 18 through day camps over the summer, after-school programs during the year, and Y literacy and swim lessons year-round. Youth programs strategically focus on meeting youth where they are, providing elementary school youth with one-on-one literacy tutoring and programming to reduce summer learning loss, working with middle school youth on developing 21st century skills and avoiding risky behaviors, and equipping high school youth with the information, tools, and experiences necessary to prepare them for college, careers, and/or military service. The Y serves more than 1,300 North Nashville youth from 15 area public elementary, middle, and high schools across this range of programs housed at the Northwest Y, and has and will continue to make every effort to mitigate risk to youth through these programs. From the prevention of drowning and risky behaviors to equipping youth with the knowledge and skills necessary to be positive and contributing adults, the Y's unyielding commitment to provide all youth with equity and opportunities to grow and thrive reflects our promise to be a significant partner in creating a more equitable future for Metro Nashville. Having hopefully covered the specific questions posed by your team about the anticipated areas of impact, I hope you'll allow me the remainder of our time together to address a bit more philosophically the question about how this particular appropriation might lead to a more equitable Nashville. In 1969, the Nashville YMCA opened the Northwest Y at what is believed to be the second recreational pool in North Nashville. The first at nearby Buena Vista Park had closed a few years prior. Some say because it was easier for the city to close than to face the challenge of integrating it. But the degree of truth in that anecdote and the conversation it might spark about equity isn't necessarily the point of my sharing it. I share it also because for whatever reason in 1969, an aquatic facility in this neighborhood was a gap in service that neither the government nor the free market could or would fill, so the nonprofit sector, the YMCA, did, and that is as it should be. We exist to serve where government cannot, to lessen your burden where it makes sense and is sustainable to do so. When I read Ridley Will's history of the Nashville YMCA, I'm reminded that our nonprofit organization's decision to build a pool in a YMCA on Ashland City Highway was genuinely rooted in a belief that we should strive to take an equitable approach to the expansion of our facilities. But let me be clear, we did not always get it right. So I do not mean to wax idyllic. Just because we're proud of the investment we made and continue to make in Bordeaux doesn't mean you won't also find a photograph hanging in the Frisk Center today of an integration protest staged outside our downtown Y in 1963. Given the history of this nation, most any organization that's been around as long as the Y might be hard-pressed to write an honest history that's free from the marks of segregation, and it does no good to pretend they are not there, so we do not. But I will say this, in the decades since that day in 1969, our Y has worked hard to ensure the children, adults, and seniors who call Bordeaux home had a place to care for their health and well-being, a place to learn to swim, a place to be safe after school, to connect with one another, and a place to feel like they were on a seldom experienced level playing ground with the rest of Nashville. Unfortunately, both the data and the daily anecdotes in this community tell us the playing field remains unbalanced. Bordeaux and North Nashville are still playing from behind. Like many minority communities, the area has not yet overcome the lasting effects of public policies and once legal lending practices that led to less than desirable development and non-existent economic growth, and that halted the accumulation of wealth through home ownership that much of the white middle class experienced through the purchase of their homes. Sadly, the persistence of poverty and stagnated economic growth in the 37208 and surrounding zip codes is one of the reasons the Northwest YMCA struggles to achieve financial health and stability. Simply put, for many of the aforementioned reasons and likely others, the community today lacks the population density and medium household income to sustain on its own an operation like the YMCA. And although the YMCA has provided millions of dollars in subsidy to the facility since 1969, it cannot continue to sustain $600,000 annual losses. If we are to maintain the quality of our facilities, invest in competitive pay rates for hourly employees in a virtually zero unemployment environment, store away reserves for a rainy day, and ensure that our entire nonprofit is healthy for generations to come, we must find ways to improve the financial performance of our most heavily subsidized facility. Today, as a percentage of operating budget, we provide 5 times the amount of subsidy for the Northwest Y as any other facility in our region, and we believe that doing so has been to take an equitable approach to serving a high-need community. But we do need to see progress towards sustainability to ensure that we can continue to deliver a quality experience in Bordeaux without compromising existing amenities or foregoing other critical investments system-wide. While we recognize the socioeconomic challenges in the community make it unrealistic to think the facility will not require subsidy for the foreseeable future, We also believe it is both necessary and appropriate to ask others to join with us in that effort, so that together we can shoulder the load in a way that does not overtax or strain any one entity alone. By working together, we think we can continue to make the investments necessary to empower and engage a community that wants to be an active participants in the solution that it requires. To that end, as is well known, we proposed a 2017 plan to transition the facility to a Metro-owned recreational entity where the Y would continue to partner as a provider, and the community's reaction to that proposal was a powerful reminder that we still don't always get it right, even with the very best of intentions. And it was a powerful reminder that the trust gap resulting from a history of inequitable public policies in minority communities is still very real and a very open wound that's deeply felt. The Metro appropriation support may offer at least one step toward healing that wound in a community where an equitable deployment of public capital is desperately needed, but sometimes met with an equal amount of skepticism. By investing in the stability of the local YMCA, Metro government would be investing in the preservation and vitality of a trusted and valued community treasure for an incredibly low investment per capita when compared to the reach of some other nonprofits receiving appropriations. And it would be investing in an entity not solely reliant on appropriations to survive, thereby making the investment more sustainable and less risky than some others. Moreover, we are not looking only to government as a solution for sustainability. Following the vocal opposition to a merger with Metro Parks and Rec, we joined with Dr. Phyllis Hildreth to engage the community in honest dialogue about the financial realities of the facility, and most importantly, to listen and to utter a powerful four-letter word: help. What we learned from the more than 200 community members in those 3 dialogue sessions prompted us to open the door to help by issuing a public RFP for potential partners in 2018. As a result, we are today engaged in negotiations with a newly formed consortium of Nashville's historically Black colleges and universities to partner at the Northwest YMCA. We are encouraged by these discussions and hopeful that we will be able to identify ways in which the universities can bring not only financial support to the facility through the purchase of student memberships, but also enhance the services available in currently available space inside the Y, namely through the delivery of health and dental screenings and a deeper engagement of the faith community. While there are many details yet to work through and concepts to vet before formalizing an agreement, we continue to believe there is much potential in this alliance, born because of a willingness to listen to the community and to invite other stakeholders to join the effort to preserve an asset that's seen as a beacon in a community desperately seeking a chance to shine alongside the rest of its city. In closing, let me say I do not envy the task before you. I imagine that much like a nonprofit organization, you often find yourselves with an onslaught of needs that outnumber the resources available to you to meet them. So I very much appreciate the difficulty of the decisions you face on a daily basis, and I very much appreciate your taking the time to listen to our appeal for support. It's our belief that this is an investment that fully aligns with the Community Fund's goal to ensure a more equitable Nashville, and we hope that the decades-long demonstration of our commitment to equity will engender trust, that we are a nonprofit partner worthy of the city's and the administration's support as you evaluate all the opportunities before you. Thank you.
What is your branch's annual operating budget?
It is just north of $1 million. Shahari is here. She can.
And what are your other funding streams like?
They are primarily through membership. That generates roughly $600,000 a year. There is a community support campaign that generates another $50,000 or $60,000 a year through annual giving support. There are some numbers of grants. Alicia could speak more directly to the grants that offset that, but yes.
So where did y'all come up with the $243,940 number?
We allocated in the total operating budget a percentage of that budget to those areas of impact that are core to what the facility delivers in its operations. And in total, I think they represent roughly 14% of the total operating budget is the.
Did I hear you say you had annual losses of
We subsidize the facility by
600,000?
about $600,000 a year.
Okay, so this would only fill a portion of that gap.
Right.
How are you filling the rest of that gap?
The YMCA system-wide is absorbing that
System-wide?
loss, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Do some YMCA branches make money?
Yes. Yes, the
So
majority
they're
are
subsidizing.
the majority are self-sustainable or do better than break even, and they are. We are redistributing those resources as we feel in an equitable way to other facilities because every facility cannot sustain itself.
Okay, so I just want to be clear here. Your request is really, this is not a one-time funding request that's coming from you all. I think that we're hearing that you want some sustained commitment from Metro to provide
Well,
a
certainly
subsidy.
sustained commitment would be ideal.
I just want to make sure I'm
Certainly,
understanding the ask.
Certainly, we would love to be able to structure this as a multi-year, but we also are looking at other avenues to increase sustainability. So the hope would be that the dependence on that would go down over time as we pursue other opportunities so that we're not just looking to Metro to help bridge that gap.
Okay. I think we're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. See you.